Well, good evening, everybody. Mikey Soothing here again. I finally got a high definition video cam. So I thought it might be appropriate to look at some coins this evening because they have a lot of detail. I did a coin video earlier, as you know. Maybe I even did two. It's hard when you have Alzheimer's to remember. But I think that we go over some new stuff today. Maybe a slight review of what I looked at before. But mainly I want to look at the higher quality stuff, which I have pulled out of the bank safe deposit box. So I have a bag here. Hope this isn't too noisy for you. I have a bag, and it has some certified coins in it. We're going to take a look at those, including gold and silver. I have some, they're in holders like this, the certified coins, and this protects them from ever having degradation from the elements or the environment. Silver oxidizes really easy, so when you expose it to air, all kinds of bad things happen. It can turn black and have a film and things like that. Then you don't have a nice, beautiful mercury dime that look like that, So, I don't know if you can really see. I have to get better lighting. When I start looking at these coins, we're going to look at them at a different angle so that you can really see the beauty of them, and maybe with a little more light. I'm trying to be a little bit subdued, so I have a couple candles and this and that. It relaxes me, actually. I hope it relaxes you as well. I like to decorate things, even something simple like this candle. I actually put real jewels in this thing, and I don't know if you'll be able to see them, but I've got some garnets on there, and I even have a couple little aquamarines down lower and things like that. Kind of hard to see unless you're looking at it in a certain kind of light, but that's a little off topic, isn't it? Anyway, I did want to mention a disclaimer about gold and silver. A lot of people advocate it because, paper currency is kind of worthless. It's whatever people decide it will be worth, right? And trillions of dollars are being printed in paper money by expanding the credit money market. I believe that the M3 is a combination of all three measures of money. I'm not going to go into that other than to say it gets a little technical, because it's actual money and it's reserve currency and reserves, bank reserves. It's reserves on paper, it's bonds, Federal Reserve bonds, and treasury bills, and then it's the credit market that is based on a certain amount of currency, and that credit market is it's a fractional reserve system, which means maybe you have $1 in the bank, if you're the government, and you decide that $100 can be lent out to people. So you just created $99 based on that one. So some people think, one of these days, it's all going to come crashing down. Then I'd like to own a little silver and gold. Well, that's what I do. But I'm not telling anybody else what to do with their money. People shouldn't put all their money into gold and silver because there are other investments that are very good. So, also, I would like to say a disclaimer that if you take an eternal perspective, as I do, gold and silver will be just as worthless as everything else. So, have your spiritual life in order. Put your value in God and family, because in the long run, those are the only things that really last. But meanwhile, since we're in the here and now for the moment, I'm going to talk a little bit about some of these gold and silver coins. So let me change the camera angle after I have a little sip of water, as you know I am frequently in the habit of doing. Then I'll be able to get through a little ramble and show you some nice coins. All right, be back in just one. All right, so now we're going to take a look at some coins, and just by way of review, I think for you ladies out there, I think it'd be interesting sometime if you had something like this that you wore as a pendant. Beautiful Morgan dollar. And if you take a look at this Morgan dollar, you know, this thing is dated 1881. So you'd be wearing something that's about 130 something years old. Look at the luster on that. It's called cartwheel luster. I think that's kind of beautiful myself. So think about that, ladies. Whether you might want a piece of American history and numismatics as something to wear. I'm going to put it back in its little protective pouch right there, like that, just to keep it from getting, you know, things on it and all that kind of thing. And we talked about last time about some of these things. See, here's a Morgan dollar, and it's got some toning on it, so it's, some people would call that tarnish, but in the coin collecting world they call that toning. Okay, so that's that one. And as we mentioned before, this is like a bullion coin. It's just a 1 ounce for investment silver, but it's not the kind of thing that you would buy for collecting. It's more for investment in silver. It's a replica of the Indian head penny, but in 1 ounce pure. What is this? 999 fine, 0.999 fine silver. See on the back there. So that's a good way to own some silver. I guess I'm attracted to shiny objects. I think what I was going to explain to you about these, that's what's got what's called a mirror, a proof-like mirror background field. And that's when the features, which are also called, see, this is the field, the background, and you can see it's very reflective and very mirror-like and shiny. You know, and then you've got a frostiness to the features on the coin. That's called a proof or a proof-like coin. Now, we went through most of these before, so I won't belabor it, but I think that this 1900 that's a nice round number for a coin, and since we didn't have very good resolution before, I just wanted you to see what this coin looks like. Many of the 1900s were really, Morgan dollars were beautifully struck coins, so that's that one, see. Does that have a mint mark? This might be Philadelphia. No mint mark. All right. But let's move on to some new things. Recall, this was the, these move around a little bit. You can kind of hear them move around in their case. These were the ugly design barber coins, which everybody thought was kind of ugly. And they kept going on the same design for 60 years. Dimes, quarters, halves, dollars, you know, pretty ugly design. And so people got really bored with it. They all look the same, see. And but most collectors like to have some of those old, you know, these were from the 1800s. Yeah, back to the early 1900s. And what else we got here before we go on to some new things? seems like, oh, here's another nice for you ladies. If the Morgan dollar's too big, maybe you would like a pendant of the beautiful Walking Liberty half. I put this one in a gold bezel for a little contrast. But you see Miss Liberty walking. This is one of the most beautiful coins ever made in American coinage, in my opinion. A guy named Weinman designed that coin. There's the eagle on the back, right there. You can see the eagle, and see, it's got a lot of nice luster. And I put that gold chain on there for a little contrast. So I think if the Morgan is too heavy, this would be nice for a lady to wear. But let's put it back in its protective slip cover for now. Once my wife or girlfriend gets a hold of this, then they're going to start wearing it all the time. So I don't know why I'm trying to protect it, you know, because it's going to get handled, isn't it? That's okay. That's what that one's for. It's supposed to look beautiful around a woman's neck instead. What good are these things in little packages, you know, if nobody ever appreciates them? And of course the mercury dime, and since we have a high definition camera now, I'll show you a better example in a little bit. What else do we have in here? I don't know. It's mostly silver stuff that we looked at in the earlier video, so I think we're going to move on. What's this? Here's a two-tone. This is not silver or collectible. You know what this is? A Canadian coin called a toonie, because it's $2 Canadian. They have loonies and they have toonies. And the loonie, there's a little bear on the back, you know. And then I think we got Queen Elizabeth on the front. The only reason I'm showing you this is because I'm going to show you an actual valuable coin that's Canadian in a few minutes, I think, if I can find it. So, coin made out of platinum. Alright, so that's all those. Let's put those aside, move on to something new. What do we got in here? This box. I think we might have looked through here before. I think we looked at the world's tiniest coins, U.S. coins after they've been devalued by the government. And we got another beautiful mercury dimes in here. But I don't want to belabor these because we've talked about them before. Okay, what I wanted to show you, as you recall, we were looking at before some certified coins. And we'll take a peek at those again for a minute, and then we're going to look at the stuff that we got out of safe deposit. So, of course, I'm kind of proud of this buffalo nickel. I think if you saw my other coin video, this time I can show you the features with more detail and accuracy. Buffalo nickel. Isn't that nice? Plains buffalo there. And this is a high-grade buffalo nickel. 1938 D over D. And I don't think you'll be able to see the mint mark on this coin, the flaw that makes it worth a lot. But it's graded, as you can see here, graded mint state 65, which is a very high grade buffalo D over D. And what is the date? 1938 on that coin. So that's a nice coin right there. And of course this is the Franklin $50. This one is this is a proof coin, a little more rare than the regular bullion coin. And you can see how reflective the proofs are compared to a regular silver coin. And they have a little better detail on them because they don't strike so many on the dies. So that's a pretty coin, I think. Old holder, worth a lot of money compared to the newer holder. So, oh, and then of course we have this beautiful Standing Liberty. I'm going to get her out. I told you about the controversy on this coin before, so we won't go into that again, about how she was revealing her bosom. But look at the nice luster on that coin. Isn't that beautiful? And the design. I really like these. And these are quite prized by collectors. The 1920s, you know, we got the eagle on the back there. Supposed to be an eagle, but some people thought it looked more like a composite of several different birds. So the eagle design got criticized just a little bit. Nonetheless, it's a very highly prized coin in the numismatic world. And again, I don't handle these coins on their surfaces with bare fingers. Only by the rim do you hold it when you get it out of its little protective. And you can't just use plastic pouches. It has to be free of polyvinyl chloride, these pouches. Special coin type plastic, because polyvinyl chloride reacts with silver and destroys it. Puts an ugly green gunk on a nice silver coin and ruins the value. So if you ever collect coins, you know, you learn something here today, right? And if we can't learn something every day, what good is life? You know, here is another silver dollar. These were called peace dollars because they were hoping after World War I that there would be no more wars. So these were minted, you know, from 1924 and 25 and 26, 27. And they're called peace dollars. Unfortunately, after World War I, that didn't end things, did it? But you can see, again, the beautiful, what they call, cartwheel luster of an uncirculated coin. This one is mint state 62, right there. I sent this in to be certified myself. Picked it out of a roll and said, that looks like a pretty nice coin. I was hoping for a mint state 63, but you know, 62's okay. So we'll put that back. And here is and this goes to show you how difficult grading is. Here's a 1943 Walking Liberty. And you know, I was hoping this one would grade out mint state 62. That means uncirculated and pretty high quality. But look how and it looks very beautiful, doesn't it? Like it's never been touched. But you know what? They graded this AU 55. You know what that means? Almost uncirculated. So the guy that looked at this from PCGS, he says, hey, under a microscope, I can see a tiny bit of finger rub someplace, maybe on one of the highest features. This got touched sometime, you know, one time it was touched. Then you don't get a mint state 60 or above, it's AU 55, you know. And they look for a tiny bit of rub on the breast of the eagle here. So I was a little disappointed in that grade, but I had other coins have come back with better grades that I sent in. Like here is a beautiful mercury dime. Look at this coin. Mint state 66. Very high grade. And so I'm happy with the grade on this coin. And this is a 1943 S for San Francisco Mint. And I live close to there. So down by Santa Cruz, you know. coast of Santa Cruz. And there's the backside, the Fossies, they call that. So you can see that's a pretty coin. But, you know, we talked about all these silver coins before. And this is just a common modern bullion coin. This is a American Eagle, which is what's produced now for silver investors by the U.S. Mint. But this happens to be a particularly high-grade one. So it got a holder, mint state 68. That's about as high a grade as you can hope to see in an Eagle. So 70 would be perfect. I've never seen a 70. All right. I think this little thing here, I don't remember what these are. Let's see. Oh, they're Walking Liberty half dollars from the 40s, and they're quite beautiful. So I'm holding on to these for the future. Maybe someday my kids, you know, kids today aren't really interested in coin collecting. They collect all kind of other weird things. You know, Beanie Babies, you know. Remember when Beanie Babies went from, like, you'd buy it for $3 in a store. Pretty soon it was worth, you know, $20 or $30 in a collection. Now they're worth $3 again. They lost all their value. This doesn't happen with coins. They're not a fad because there's only so many of these, and they were made as real money, and they'll always be valuable for their precious metal content and their numismatic value. All right, let's put those back. Again, I only handle by the rim. I don't touch the face of these coins. So I'm very careful, very, very careful not to touch, because these are uncirculated, and I don't want to do anything to degrade them. Put the little protective paper in and close that up. All right, so now that was kind of by way of review, so I think we should move on and see what we pulled out of the safe deposit box, which I don't normally leave laying around here. But first, I gotta have a sip of water, because it's late in the evening, and you know, throat gets scratchy, right? Sorry about that. Put that back on. I might even read a little bit from the book here. But I might bore you to death if I do that, so I'm not sure we'll do that. But we'll see. Maybe just a couple lines from the book. What do you think? This is a giant book. This thing weighs about 5 pounds, I think. Look at this thing. Walter Breen's Complete Encyclopedia. It's so giant I can't fit it in the whole frame. Giant encyclopedia of coins. This has more information on coins than you would ever want to know. And it has more information on coins than you would not want to know. We'll put this over here just in case we need to make reference to it. All right. In my safe deposit box, if we can do this without being too noisy and rowdy, I'm afraid this will be really noisy. Let me get some of these things out. Let's see what's in here. This isn't everything, but we'll pull out some of this stuff and take a look. See what we got here. And just do a little bit of ramble discussion on it. That way, both you and I can be relaxed by bedtime. Okay. I think it might be past my bedtime. I get up about 5:30 to go to work, sometimes 5:15. So I have a really tough commute in the Silicon Valley and over the Santa Cruz Mountains. It takes about an hour and a half. Here's an 1885 Morgan dollar, but like I said, we're not going to dwell on those. Here's one that's called a proof-like Morgan dollar. I sent this in to be certified, and it came back with a proof-like. That's what the PL means down here, proof-like, and that makes it more valuable. It means that the devices, which is the face, the raised features, that's called the devices. The lettering is more frosted, and the background or the field is more mirror-like. This isn't really a fully proof-like, but the back gives you a better indication. See how it's more reflective? Most Morgan dollars are more frosty in the background and not that mirror-like. When it's this mirror-like, it's very it's considered very premium, well-struck coin, and that makes it worth more. So I was happy with the grade on this one after I sent it in. I went through a lot of rolls and tried to pick out the ones I thought would grade well. And this came back with a PL, which made me happy because I was hoping it would. And this is just a 1900. We'll skip that. Put that over here. Don't want to go through too many Morgan dollars. We already talked about those. Here's one that's came back 1882. So this is pretty old. 1882S. And I picked this one out and sent it in for grading also. And it's a really nice example of a proof-like Morgan. Maybe this is the last one I'll show you. But if we look on the back side of this thing, I think that you'll see it's got a really nice mirror finish in the fields. And very well struck coin. So it got a mint state 65 PL, which is considered a great grade for a Morgan dollar. So I was real happy with that find and with that grade level. I think I have more of these, but I don't want to talk about Morgans anymore. And so instead, let's move on. All right. Do you remember, well, let's talk about Mercuries just for a second, but we won't dwell on them. Here's one that has no toning, see? It's very silver looking. They call that a silvery white, which means no toning, Contrast that with one that has a bit of color. A little toning, a little reddish, orange. Sometimes this toning can be bluish or purplish or turquoise. And some investors, some coin collectors really like toning on their coins. It's got a little on the back too, see? And so it's a high grade. This is a proof coin, proof 65. Very nice example. So just telling you a little of the differences in types, all the different color schemes, It's like, look at this here. See how easily I'm distracted by shiny objects? I can't show you what this is because it's too big. What this is a mermaid balloon because it was my daughter's birthday. Just see the tail, okay. You see, we always have a decorative balloon around here for something or other. I think we've had balloons like that around here for 7 straight months of one kind or another. Somebody's birthday or some kind of Mother's Day or this day or that day. Anyway, that's a little off topic. I told you that I was going to show you, and we looked at one of these already, one of these beautiful quarters, Standing Liberty quarter. But I have a 1929 version in a slab. That's what they call these holders. A slab. A slabbed coin. And so there's a 1929, so that's close to 100 years old. And that's a nice high grade, so I was happy with how that graded. Miss Liberty there. And the eagle on the reverse. I think even their little security feature is kind of colorful and interesting, isn't it? But let's move on to stuff we haven't seen yet, which I keep promising. You know, it's kind of like in the news. You know how they promise to show you something, and then they hold it for the very end, and they keep making you watch the same boring segment over and over, and then they show you what they promised at the very end. This is sort of like that, okay? Here is a coin. It's not a collector coin. It's a Canadian maple leaf. And it's got Queen Elizabeth on the front there. This is sort of a reverse proof. And so you see the devices, which is the head there, her bust, is shiny and reflective. But the background, the field, is more frosty, like a reverse proof. And on the back here, we have the famous Canadian maple leaf. So this is a maple leaf coin. Now you may have heard of maple leafs that are gold bullion coins, 1 ounce, right? But what this is a platinum coin. Fine platinum, see there? And they even make 1 ounce. And they even make these out of palladium. And platinum right now is worth between, $1,400 an ounce, between $1,400 and $1,500. Palladium's about 800 and something, 820 an ounce. And personally, I don't give investment advice. So please don't take what I say as advice. But I'm telling you, there is a platinum shortage in the world. Only about 1/20th the amount of platinum exists as gold. If that, maybe 1/40th, depending on who you believe. And most of it gets used up in catalytic converters for cars. Same with palladium. Now they're mining about 1.5 to 2 million ounces a year less than what's being consumed, and there's not much of a stockpile. So in my opinion, in the opinion of many experts, platinum and palladium is going to be in shortage in the next few years, so probably a pretty good place for somebody who wants to make a precious metal investment to put some of their money. But don't blame me if you buy some and it doesn't do what you want, okay? I'm just telling you one guy's opinion. All right. Personally, I'm going to buy more of these and salt them away for retirement investment. All right. Now, what else do we have here? I think I save what I consider the best for last. And this is what I think is the most beautiful coin ever designed for American coinage. But first, another sip of water. All right. And what I think is the most beautiful coin ever designed for American coinage, besides the Walking Liberty half and the Standing Liberty, which are both beautiful coins, the Standing Liberty, standing, and the Walking Liberty, is this coin. This is the gold $20 piece known as the St. Gaudens coin. Don't you think that's beautiful? Let me try to hold it more still for you so you can see it. Look at the luster on that coin. And so that is an uncirculated specimen, has not been touched by human hands. So it is a mint state 63 coin, which is a very high grade for a gold coin because they're very soft and they get little scratches and things very easy. So not many of them grade out this high. All right. On the reverse, we have the eagle and the rising sun. And these coins came, there's some that are called no motto, and some that have motto. And the motto is the "In God We Trust" down here. So Theodore Roosevelt, not Teddy Roosevelt, but one of his predecessors, Theodore Roosevelt, president, was involved with Augustus St. Gaudens in the design of this coin. And he actually wanted a no motto coin, so the first few years, that's how they were made. And then I think Congress passed an act or something to put the motto on. And there's a lot of controversy about whether you should have that or not have that, due to separation of church and state. So I'm not going to weigh in one way or the other. As a Christian, I like to see God acknowledged in the public square, but I don't want there to be a government-run religion in any way either, because they would just muck it up, wouldn't they? So, anyway, that is a very beautiful coin, and maybe I'll read you a little bit from this encyclopedia of coins and see what this guy has to say, this very opinionated author here. Let's read a couple of the things. He says, President Theodore Roosevelt was devoutly religious, but he disagreed with Congress and the average citizen on the need or the desirability of having God's name placed on the coins. And he goes on to describe some of the controversy and how it unfolded. This was the motto was added from 1908 to 1933. Before that, there was the no motto coin, 1907 and 1908. The other controversy about this coin is that the design was really beautiful, done by Augustus St. Gaudens, and the guy running the mint at the time was a guy named Barber. Remember those boring Barber coins I showed you that were all the same for decades? His boring design that all looked the same on every coin. Well, Barber really resented Augustus St. Gaudens' design because everybody loved it, and it was so much better than his designs. And he was running the mint, so you know what he did? So St. Gaudens died just before they started producing these coins. And so what he did was he made a really lousy, flattened out version of it and said, oh, this isn't suitable for making into coins. This design is terrible. It just isn't going to work well. Well, his widow, Augustus St. Gaudens' widow, and an attorney and one of their confederates showed a run of coins and produced a run of coins using the real design and said, look how beautiful these are. And so they ended up prevailing, and Barber was humiliated once again. He was really in, well, I won't say, because this is a relaxing ASMR video. Anyway, it says here, when Barber attempted to blame St. Gaudens' original design for the quality of the coin, Herring produced the far superior reductions that he had privately obtained in France against this exact contingency as evidence that the fault lay with Barber's bungling obstructionism, and Mrs. St. Gaudens was eventually paid, after negotiations, paid for the design, of course, that her husband had produced. And so he got credit. And I think it was well deserved that St. Cowden's and his widow and the attorney and the others who liked the design prevailed, because we got one of the most beautiful coins in American history. It was a $20 piece at the time, and now this coin's worth, well, this one would be worth close to $2,000, okay, because it's a high grade and all. But even the most basic ones, you know, are worth more than an ounce of gold. It's an ounce of gold. And it'd be worth minimum of, say, $1,500 for a basic circulated one. Someday I think it'll be worth more than that. And they have been worth more. A few years ago. They'll go up again. So I think that's all we're going to talk about today for coins. And we'll come back and do another video in the future on some other topics. Meanwhile, I'm going to take all these back to safe deposit box. I don't want them laying around my house for people to break in and steal. You know what the Bible says? This is what Jesus said, and I take his words to heart. In the long run of scheme of things, he said, do not lay up for yourself treasure on earth, where moth and rust destroy and thieves break in and steal. But instead lay up treasure for yourself in heaven, where moth and rust cannot destroy and thieves cannot break in and steal. Because where your treasure is, that's where your heart will be also. So I try to keep that in context and make sure I don't ever trust in money or idolize it or think of it as that's where my heart is. But as, you know, a wise investor, I try to do something reasonable that will hold a share of value for your future and retirement. But keep it in the context of family values and other things, relationships, and things that are a lot more important. All right. So I have to give my final word of advice, as always, which is don't ASMR and drive, okay? Just don't. Just watch them when you're ready to go to sleep. Do ASMR videos ever keep you up because you enjoy falling asleep over and over again? That's what happens to me sometimes. I end up staying up too late because I fall asleep watching them, and then in front of my computer, and then I just fall asleep all over again, like 5 times, you know. Before I know it, it's 2 a.m. Oh well, I'm kind of rambling now, huh? All right, what shall we do next? You tell me. And actually, I have a lot of ideas. All right, good night, everybody. I hope that you sleep well, and I hope you were soothed.